Hello? Coffee. We all know it. It has a beautiful aroma and delicious texture and has been part of our lives since we could remember. But we may only share this addiction in terms of deadlines, awkward first dates, early mornings, and our complicated relationship with work culture. If I'm being honest, I couldn't tell you the last time I simply enjoyed this amazing drink with the sole purpose of just enjoying it.
Better. Yeah.
But I'm here now, in a park I've never been to before, sipping a coffee that I love. Yeah, no, that's great. In fact, this is the first time since college that I've actually focused on the coffee itself, and not the looming tasks or other variables that typically incite the use of coffee, but overshadow it altogether. But what do you have to worry about? Nothing. Because right now, you're here, watching a man sit on a bench, both of which you haven't seen before, while said man creates a terribly tenuous analogy between coffee and art. This is not where I found it, but it's okay. You know what's also terribly tenuous? My ability to simply be. To exist and to explore and to do whatever humans were thought to do without the input of 21st century society. And sure, I can still frolic and eat berries and pick up cool sticks and have lots of fucking sex, but all these primal urges feel diluted through the lens of modernity. Still, without 21st century society, I wouldn't have been able to explore a 21st century library where I found a 21st century painting, which I captured this inspiration with a 21st century revolutionary device to make 21st century art.
Where I am, but I'm obviously by a window right now. What I wanted to show you guys about the painting is that there's shared visual boundaries. I'm inside a library, so I gotta give a look at it. There's shared boundaries inside this painting where you can't tell where the face begins and where it ends, or if it's even human at all. And that was really cool about it. But since that room is closed and I can't show you the painting, here's a window.
In essence, it's a beautiful mural and aligns with the art I'm typically attracted to, which is mostly anything that's up to individual interpretation. However, in regards to design, my taste is completely different. I like when things shout at me, demand my attention, tell me exactly what they are, but do it in a way that's suavely confident. Specifically, I was always drawn to big, bold logos, characterized and personified typefaces, and the support of flashy imagery. There was something magnetic about the clean, deliberate lines, the high contrast color schemes, and within that simplicity, there was something profoundly genius. Now, combining these elements is what I think is really genius. You can create a logo or character, expand upon it, and before you know it, that original mark has multiplied into 100 different possibilities that you never even anticipated. And that's what I want to showcase today. That going with the flow, trusting the process, letting our minds wander and our bodies explore is incredibly therapeutic and often results in something worth cherishing.
Wow, so cute. They grow up so fast.
They add a couple more cards every year.
It's super cute.
So what exactly are we making today? Well, I'm happy you're asking that question because I was thinking something like this. It's a pretty simple and easy shape that would allow for shared boundaries because whenever you're working within superimposed shapes, it forces you to at least consider that possibility. And since we're working within the confines of this shape, that possibility is even more prevalent. And that's also why I think graffiti is so cool to look at, because not only do you get to appreciate the line work that gives structure to each individual character, but also the depth and color scheme behind it, bringing life to the whole piece. But we're not making graffiti today. We're making, okay, I don't have a name for it yet, but I do know one thing. We have to vectorize this. Oh yeah! Okay, the base shape is completely finished, and here's some of my first thoughts about it. Number 1, it looks like Magnemite and Diva from Overwatch had a baby. Number 2, it looked way cooler on this post-it note. And number 3, I really want to explore some self-portrait aspects because dude, when your nose looks like this, triangles are kinda hard to avoid.
So the only thing left to do is to obviously make something cool and somehow express everything that I want to express. But the thing is that this inspiration doesn't come from a single night or a single work session. It's entirely free flow. So that means I gotta go live life. I gotta go find new and refresh old inspirations and honestly, come back to it when it feels right. Essentially, it's a ton and a lot and a plethora of experimentation. Let's go live.
Okay, so I think I lived a little too hard considering that it's almost fucking October and I've nearly forgotten about this video. But I've been successfully granted another month on this whole life thing, and I actually finally completed a final design, and I would love to show you guys a little bit of a roadmap on how I got there. As you're aware, the design started as a base shape inspired by this post-it note, but in order to evolve it into something worthwhile, I had to get the ideas flowing. Those ideas manifested themselves through a few sketches and digital doodles. The first and probably only notable thing of these sketches pertains to the arms or rectangles extruding from the main shape. In fact, I liked the shape so much, I kept it consistent throughout the entire process. But I wasn't completely sold on the first iterations because it looked like an M or a K, and I thought subconsciously recognizing letters would distract from the design entirely. So after removing the letters, I ended up with a magnet person fish mouth kind of thing and ran with it. I even kept the major starting shapes, but was pretty clueless on what I wanted to accomplish with the rest. I sketched tribal things, a brain, spinal cord, exclamation marks, and nothing clicked until I made a tongue. At this point, I knew it would come together and give me the opportunity to explore some type of anatomical element because I really loved the brain idea. After a few iterations, I managed to look into soldiers, grenades, helmets, eyeballs, and clowns, none of which made any sense, so I decided to take a clean approach and just fucked around with the shapes. I explored gas masks, frowny faces, UFOs, and even Captain America. Yeah, it wasn't until I recognized the eye markings resembling a panda that I knew I was on the right track. It's worth mentioning that throughout all these minute changes or brainstorms, I was constantly flipping the canvas to work on the inverse, hoping that new ideas would appear to me. However, once I did this one simple and incredible maneuver, it was pretty much wraps. I stayed with this upright version throughout the rest of the process, only occasionally flipping it to make sure no shapes could be misconstrued as inappropriate. Honestly, you would think this process gets easier as you finish more of it, right? There's less you have to think about and less to work on, but no. Completion time is actually negatively associated with the amount of work you put in. As you finish parts you like, every subsequent addition must fit in with what you just created, forcing you to be creative via limitation. It's not really that bad. You just kind of get the feeling of like, oh yeah, this is it. And whatever that means to you, you just run with it. I'm in the woods. Standing on some wood. Gotta smoke a wood in the wood on some wood. Can't really sit down because everything's wet. Bottom line is, it's like I said, I don't view art as a rush. Yes, create and explore and do as much as your heart desires, but don't forget to take breaks once in a while. Because investing time to grow and experience life outside of your own creative work always leads to a great return on your time.
This is new. I just want to go to the library, but here we are.
In fact, it took me months to finally finish a project and feel good about it for people to pee on my fucking project and then piss all over it. Because they look at it for 20 seconds and go, cool. But you understand what I'm getting at, right? You spend all this time, all this energy, all this creative work on one single project, and you finally show it to someone or someone sees it, and that person doesn't feel about it the same way as you do. Wow. Even while scripting, I was still playing around with little details like circles or lines that would help distinguish some negative space, but I left them out in the end because I liked when my mind filled in things that weren't necessarily there. And I'm not trying to convince you that my art is somehow more meaningful or impactful or valuable because of my process. I just simply love documenting things. For example, yesterday was October 16th, and although I didn't write anything down for that date, I did write something down for September 11th, 2025, which, besides being a national tragedy, that's the day I also finished the design. Okay. Maybe I'll sit on this log. This one's not as wet. Now, I'm no psychologist, but working with Blender must absolutely be a sort of delayed gratification. It can be extremely frustrating at times, but also fun to learn new things, especially when Blender works the way you intend it to. Fuck. Fortunately, if you persevere, you get to fall in love with your art all over again because you breathe three-dimensional life into it. It's just a pain that the 3D life your design so desperately desires sometimes gives you a big non-compliance finger. However, luckily for me, I was spared on this Blender journey. I already had previous experience with my last Totem project and essentially just copied over the lighting and textures. We're also calling the project Totem now, Tools of Thought Empowering Minds, because I love being pretentious. Seriously, the only problem I encountered was that I had to relearn how to create faces or fill geometry.
Vertices. You can also press Alt F to fill another way, usually connecting.
Animal cracker.
Luckily that didn't take long, but for some reason whenever I applied Shade Smooth to the back piece, it resembled shadows similar to how the geometry was filled before combining everything. I couldn't even think of a way to research a solution because I could barely identify the problem myself, so I just left it alone. Come a little closer, These are the Dime X Morel collab. These A huge part of using Blender for me is being able to incorporate real-life elements such as nature or physical everyday objects into a project. I even have some past projects where I'm still trying to figure out simple physics and path modifiers for keychains so I can get a resemblance of what these little totems could look like in real life without actually manufacturing them myself. Ever since I was a kid, I was starstruck by the graphics of Pikmin 3, and Pikmin 4 blew my mind. The toy-like textures inside this miniature diorama world were absolutely beautiful, and a vibe I really want to create somehow. Although I currently don't have the technical skills or the time to replicate this feeling, I can do my best to emulate it in the ways that I know how to. Me, when I'm whipping up mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving, I often just compose the lighting in the render to showcase the object's texture, and then I throw those renders into Affinity on top of pictures from my own environment that complement the colors of the piece. Playing with blend modes can yield cool results, but I have this vision in my head that these pieces should be dangling from my backpack sprinkled with wear and tear, or in a garden dusted with dirt. Either way, I have a very clear vision on what I want this project to be, and I'm not going to stop until I reach that. I'm in my car, eating bologna. I lied to you. I just lied to you. It's actually a lemon muffin. If I could get it out of the fucking bag, I could actually show you. Lemon muffin. Lemon. You know what? I'm a mocha guy. And I'm a lemon guy. Lemon desserts all the way through. That's got a really good aftertaste. That's good. Damn. I'm gonna be spitballing for a little with my mocha in hand. I'm a big mocha guy. Maybe like a mocha man. There's 3 reasons if you've made it this far, and I appreciate if you have. But either 1, you know me personally. 2, this video has been playing as some sort of background noise. Or 3, by some miracle, you've made it this far. But as a viewer, and as myself, who even wrote this script, you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with coffee? And I'm gonna keep it real. I have no idea. Museums and 3D art and everything I talked about in coffee, it can be hard to follow. And like, even as I was scripting this, wrapping my mind around a script that has been progressing over 3 months is quite hard to follow. I'll give you that. But if it's anything that sticks out to me as a creator and as someone who's watched this video over and over and over and over again, it's the fear of not truly creating. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, throughout this entire process, 3 months, and me designing and, going through life, the times of truly uninterrupted creation were rare. And I mean that as more than a flow state. It's not a flow state because you're more than locked in. It's an epiphanic moment. You have this idea and it comes to you and you're like, oh my God, I'm the smartest human being alive. I'm the greatest person ever. I'm the smartest human being ever. And those are the moments that are just like amazing and make doing anything, putting your mind to whatever you want, truly worthwhile. I'm not the brightest guy ever, but I've had thousands of those ideas, and at this point, I don't even believe I'm coming up with them. It's like you've been given this duty by God, by the universe, by whatever you want to believe in, and it's your responsibility to carry out this idea that you think is so great to the best of your ability. And you have to thank God, you gotta thank the universe, thank whoever for giving you this idea, this opportunity to be like enacting and giving physical manifestation of an idea. And it's amazing. As we approach the end of my spitballing and off the domeness, this is the type of shit I've been on recently. I still love coffee and I feel like I'm reaching for something. I feel like I'm really close. I just don't know what it is yet. But thank you for watching, and I promise to you and much more of myself that there's gonna be a much better upload schedule and much more aesthetically sound videos, because let's be honest, this was kind of all over the place, and as you develop a project over multiple months, it can be kind of hard to lose focus on what you want it to be. And as I progressed and learned new things and new techniques and everything, I went back and changed a lot of things. There's gonna be a much more concise vision in the future, I can promise you that.